So you might think because Tractors 12 are effects from a DJ program that they're not really mixing grade effects, if you like, or production grade. But to be honest with you, they're really usable in a standard mixing situation. We saw in the last video some of the effects that are pretty crazy and that are great for remixing and completely trashing your sound. But I'm going to take a look at the reverb and delay that are included in Tractors 12 here. And I've already gone ahead and used them on the main vocal, the verse vocal at least. And I think that it's a really convincing delay and reverb effect. Let me bring in the guitar rig here. And you can see that I've just used Tractors 12 reverb and Tractors 12 delay. And they're very simple units. We've got dry wet controls on both of them. We've got a high pass filter on both of them. The filter on the delay can be high or low pass, which is really great for just removing the low end from a sound. So you're not affecting the low end frequencies with reverb and delay, which keeps things nice and clean. We've also got low pass. We've got a feedback on the delay. We've got a size on the reverb for the decay of both of those effects. And we can freeze both of them as well. I'll show you that in a second. But let me just play you the effect that I've used on the verse. It's just a very subtle delay and a touch of reverb.
Or why you're lying on the floor. I believe sincerity somewhere that it used to be. Halfway through another door.
And if I switch them off,
I don't feel it anymore.
You can hear the massive transformation. And in the mix, this also makes a huge difference.
'Cause I don't know you anymore. Don't know what you came here for. Or why you're lying on the floor. I believe sincerity somewhere that it used to be. Halfway through another door, but I don't feel it anymore. You always claim certainty seems to come too easily, 'cause of how you live your life. So you thought you'd tell me twice.
Great. So we've got a really convincing vocal sound there now, and that's using reverb and delay straight from Tractors 12. So it just shows you can use them in the mix. Let's have a look at using them on something else. I mean, ideally, I want to use them on the chorus as well, but I'll leave that for now and I'll put that in after this video is finished. Let's take a look at a fresh element. So let's go with the snare drum, and I've got a group for the snare. I've wanted to add some reverb to the snare since the beginning of the mix because it sounds quite boxy and dry. And this is the ideal opportunity to do it, I guess. So let's go to the products. We'll go to Tractors 12 and we'll go to Tractor Reverb, and I'm going to immediately dial out the reverb there and we'll just mix it in as we go.
'Cause I don't know you anymore. Don't know what you came here for. Or why you're lying on the floor. I believe sincerity somewhere that it used to be. Halfway through another door, but I don't feel it anymore. You always blame.
So we go from a dry, boxy signal to something a little bit more epic. Now I've put a little bit of high pass in and I opened up the low pass so we can hear the high frequencies there. And let's make the size a little smaller so it's a nice room reverb. You can hear a little bit of pixelation in the sound if you like, and I'm going to show you a reverb later that will actually solve this. But for now, I think it's pretty convincing in the mix.
You always blame certainty seems to come too easily, 'cause of how you live your life. So you thought you'd tell me twice.
So that's great. We've seen them both as workhorse effects. Now, both of these effects, the reverb and delay, can produce something a little bit more extreme. For instance, if we solo the snare and we increase the size, and there's a freeze button, which will actually freeze the effect that you've got the tail, and you can alter the size in real time. So very cool. But also with the delay, we can do similar things. We can freeze the delay. So let's look at the verse again. We can do the same with the delay.
Halfway through another door. Certainty, 'cause of how you live your life.
Great. So if you want a performance effect for either of these, just use those freeze buttons. I would strongly suggest applying those to your, assigning them to your controller, and you can quickly engage them whenever you like. Great for remixing and great for performance, and nice for a little spot effect in a bridge or, you know, at the end of a verse. So there you go. There's our reverb and delay in action. I'm going to spread a few more of those across the mix to give the mix a little bit more space. And now we're going to move on to slicers, mashers, and gates, which are the more adventurous and creative plugins within Tractors 12.